Allow me to save your balls, Francis. Allow me to save your balls, Higgins. You have no idea. I'm actually having a stroke, and I've been having a stroke for 4 days. My brain is the same thing that I did in the hospital. Just allow me this most painful and patient tutelage of yours. I moved to Waterford to be an author. I had no internet. I had lived alone for many years in celibacy and study in Dublin, Ballsbridge, where you're probably messing with where I used to live. Anywhere I sit, you got gypsies. There was a Wexford mafia. Like, every corner of this crappy republic has some mafioso sitting around the town, educating the kids. He's a banker. She's from the posh end of town. He's a busker. The knowledge of the town. All the knowledge that'll keep you as gypsies from ever getting through the olive and needle. I was renting this humble little commodity little flat. This is extensive gospel material. You don't really need to know this, but women were being raped for their Xanax bills in the basement of this house where I was renting, and right next door was a brothel. A heroin-y brothel. A men's hostel, sorry, as it appears. I kept saying I was living up there, and people were like, oh, you wouldn't want to be near that place. And I didn't know why. I slowly figured out. I was there for 2 months, and I had to leave. I got practically bothered and harassed by these people running this mafia so badly that I couldn't live there any longer. These are all orphans. These are all Sinn Féin fucking gypsy orphans. They've all been educated in cybercrime, and they're all sitting out of caravan in the back field of the houses in the centre block of this centre block of houses. And they were monitoring phones, and they were monitoring everything, and they were using their education in an illicit manner for anything, for anything. So these are gypsies. They were watching me while I was practicing writing. So I was looking for work in the area, helping local shops, shopping, being friendly, little busking and stuff, and then befriending some people. All the women in Waterford are either pretty much lesbians. They walk around in couples, and all the men appeared to be like really scary, monstrous rapists. So all the women are lesbians. I made a lesbian friend or two. They were alright. Like I said, I have no brain, so this is a slow story. So yeah, they were watching me writing. They were watching the word, writing words. And I was writing in aphoristic style, very potent, small, and to the point paragraphs, fixing any little problem or any little curiosity. Or there were a lot of thought experiments. There was a lot of gypsy poetry attempts. I was just practicing being an author. I was just experiments or early endeavours in writing, hatching plans for plays, and movies and things. So they were watching me writing, and they noticed it had a very strange effect when they were watching me writing. And they were in the caravan, and it even became this weird thing that they kept howling like wolves every time I finished an aphorism when I was writing in the evening. And loads of weird crap happened. What I understand is they were receiving the word very blatantly, bluntly, and very potently, and they became very... They recognised that I was like a genius. Like, this guy's a fucking deadly man. This guy, I could hear them the entire time. They could weirdly hear me. This guy's a fucking genius, man. You want to hear him? He's against school. He's against the system. He says anyone can be a genius, and they loved it. They absolutely loved my writings. I couldn't stay. They wanted to adopt me, and even when they wanted to adopt me, then the lads were immediately like, how come he gets to live in the house and we're out in the caravan? So, this is a very scary mafia. The girls that I was talking to that lived there, also lesbians, were practically like slaves, And I was like, how could you live like that? I couldn't live like that. I need to be very free. And they just lived like slaves. And I was like, no. So I wasn't going to be enslaved. And I went home to take care of my family because I heard that the entire Rose world were going to flood to me now that they knew where I was and who I was. And they wanted a finder's fee. This Mahan family wanted a finder's fee. This Wexford mafia running place wanted a finder's fee. They chewed us, and they got their 30 pieces of silver, I'd imagine. That was 8 or 9 years ago. No one really believed me. And they go over my orrery to find out who are my friends and family and my most liked people in the world. And they are also stalking and hunting and looking into them. Just, why not? They can know about it. They know about fruit and knowledge, and then they act upon it. No one would believe me, obviously, so I'm very paranoid. So they've been watchers. If you knew the Book of Enoch, they're like the watchers. They're the traitors of heaven, and they've been stalking me and watching me and hunting me. I kept it very cool. You know what I mean? Dealing with a coward is like dealing with predicament after predicament. So if I run or put a bag on my back and run, they all chase me and follow me. And then like they could just get heated and might attack me. This happened a bit. So it's like dealing with a coward. I just go walking my dog and stay very calm and cool, and they don't attack. They're just kind of hovering around me all the time. I'm welcome to the talk all the time, but there are a bunch of cowards. They didn't talk to me. They just found out how to exploit me, like King David, and they sat around watching King David and finding out how to exploit him and being tempted into exploiting me in every way. Again, I've said this, no good people don't see these things, they're just bad people, so I'm like the Pied Piper. I develop a trail and monster magnet, you know what I mean? Because good people won't see it or won't be tempted, but bad people are, and then they make it a business, a compulsion, a routine, and they're at it just all the time. Saving your donkey balls. Gospel truth of the matter. So, yep, that was 8 years, and they've just been bleaching my brain and harvesting my mind. Like, I've got an aneurysm, not an aneurysm, but stroke going on at the moment on one side. Claiming all my names, my ovaries and everything, and replacing it with their horrible, filthy, murderous and rapist names like PJ Mahon has murdered kids. He had to survive. Murdered kids so he could go through in a very assassin kind of way. If you knew anything about those kind of secret societies and stuff, they're murdering basically at the behest of other people so they get dog biscuits and they get to go through into my heaven, because I turned out I saved my star. So what would be of penance, star, be penance, I saved my penance here and I saved my star, so I had a nice star, and they all took the star now, and they're all coveting it and defiling and destroying it. Very aware of this. You despair loads, you worry, you panic, you smoke, you drink, it doesn't help. So King David, yeah, Elijah, very similar, ripped off, and where am I going with this? Saving your donkey balls with the truth. So for some reason Francis worked with all these people. He worked with Scarlet prostitutes, and he worked with PJ Mahon, and he worked with Thomas Mahon, and he worked with these asshole rapists, these misogynistic monsters that were working for this mafia family that found me, from this Wexford mafia family, and they're all like being praised as like sainted and celibate and stuff. They're running brothels, Francis. They're running brothels. I feel a bit naive. I think they just looked over me because I was a bit too goody-goody. And technically, maybe the Vatican's a big brothel, a big Christ-killing brothel, and maybe royalty are all just the thieves of actual royalty, and they're all just the professional surviving thieves who just really killed and executed and robbed all the illegitimate royalty. And they're all in just one big scheme of robbing, murdering, and killing starry people, very much like Elijah. And there was none left in the world because they gobbled them all up. And Elijah was the last one left, and had to tell them. And Elijah wouldn't die then either, because he was the last one, and you can't do without the last one, so it doesn't die. Yep, so they've been using my name and my orrery now for 8 years, and know how to do terrible things. I can't begin to tell you the terrible things they're doing. And everybody's wondering, why do you have an Irish accent all over Europe and in the world? Because this man family. These mobsters, these charlatans, scarlet bastards, they breed bastards of perdition. They are the traitors of Enoch, they're the traitors of heaven. They're seeing things they're not supposed to see, and they're learning things they're not supposed to know. Keys got stolen off Elijah. So yeah, the gypsy scarlet infidels, and I don't even know who I'm preaching to, because you might be a gypsy scarlet infidel yourself and just be working with them. I don't know what to tell you. Gospel fucking truth of the matter. So they had my list of aphorisms, and they were using it all the time, and they were reciting it and using it to train people all the time. I can prove they're my writings. I have a lot more of that kind of stuff, so I can prove it's me and my ideas. But they were using it around calling it stupid manuscript or whatever the fuck they were calling it, selling it. I don't think they ought not to have it. It's not supposed to be published. It wasn't published material. They were just early exercises in writing. Instead of Nietzsche, my hero. Critically sexual amnesia. How did they believe that these people were like celibate scholars that were talking about university materials, you know? Like, I was like, I just can't believe they were believed. And I was overlooked. They were trouble, basically. They were problematic, so they got dealt with, and I was no trouble, so I was overlooked. I was very prudent and very cautious. I was actually silent, didn't even play music for like 2 years or 3 years, and they just kept laying on the conditions. Oh my head, sorry. Really bad headache. This is not my brow, by the way. These are murderers and rapists, and my name is why it looks so fucked up and donkey balls out of it. It's very painful. So yeah, gospel truth. I don't want to make another video in relation to this, so I might just put this in as an end note. I made this other video recently about how up is down or down is up, and up can be down and down is up. I think it was called Ecce Homo, which is also a Nietzsche quote, or why am I such a genius? In parts of the Bible, there's things that are backwards on purpose, so you know what they look like when they're backwards. In the Bible, at one point, it says what's the best Holocaust that there is, which is technically asking what's the worst thing you can do at the same time. So it was an inverted period, and they asked what's the best Holocaust, which is, again, I have to emphasize, the worst possible thing you could probably do, which was actually kill a young, intelligent child. So there's been a lot of like killing young, intelligent children all over the world, and that was a period of aversion that I need to specify. So by saying what's the best Holocaust, it's like saying what's the worst thing you can do. What really hurts or harms, or it's really the worst, the biggest mistake you can make. But yeah, so it was a period of inversion and backwards laws. So I just wanted to add that in. I don't want to make a whole video for just to make that extra note, or footnote on the Ecce Homo video. So I think I need to tell you about donkey balls. The truth was a matter. They were all gypsies, you know. I got flooded by gypsies all over. Then everyone came from all over the world, and for some reason worked with the Mann family. Probably so they wouldn't have to queue up and humble themselves and befriend me, and they'd all just conspire together and rob me, which was somewhat predicted. I can't believe how stupid and idiotic and predictable. I heard no one's got it worse. So far in the history of time, nobody's got this situation so bad, despite all our communication potentials, our technologies, our education, our gospels, our Gideons, our power of Christ in most people on the face of the earth. And nobody has got it worse than they're doing at the moment. Nobody has made such a big boo-boo, such a big mess up, been so greedy and adulterous, and as we have our supposedly culmination of human intelligence of the species, we've done it worse than anyone has done it yet. So, year 8 or 9 of tribulation now. And Joseph was saved by Egypt after 7, you know what I mean? These are, like, the whole book is just pointless. Anyway, Saver Donkey Balls, yeah, more truth, you know, you don't want to know, like, it was just being horrible. You don't want to know the things they've done to me and my family and friends. Still being framed, actually, and dying and stuff, and being hunted and persecuted. Killing witnesses, they call them, you know, killing witnesses, just persecuting Christianity, basically, in this predicament. Yeah, I'm tired of saving your donkey balls in the place and guitars.